Hello, I'm Mark Chalero, the owner of MS Classic Cars. Today I'm sitting behind the wheel of an awesome 1987 Porsche 911 Turbo that's better known as the Motor Werks Racing 930. First, I'd like to start this video off by saying this is non-rehearsed, so there's a lot of information to learn about this particular car. I'm probably not going to cover everything, so please visit our website at msclassiccars.com for a full description with tons of highly detailed photos. Corey Smiley, who works for us, goes above and beyond with his photos, so please spend the time and check those out. I will also say that I only collect #1 and #2 condition vehicles. I'm a huge fan of Porsches in general, of all generations. I've had many different models throughout the years. Some have been factory correct, some have had a super low mileage, and we've also had a few custom ones. A custom car that comes to mind that I really loved, we had an 82 911 that had a slant nose conversion. It was a cabriolet. It was a turbo. I bought the car from a great gentleman. We became friends, and I sold it on Bring a Trailer to another great gentleman. We become friends as well. That was a really great car. Since that particular car, which was again a few months back, I've been looking for another custom Porsche to add to the collection. And I will say that even prior to buying that 82, I find that most of these cars that you see are just not in the #1 or #2 condition category. So to find one that's been restored or built to a higher level of quality is very difficult. So once I saw this car, I really jumped on the opportunity. Our photos will clearly demonstrate how beautiful this car is. And again, I'm going to go into all the details about it now. So the first thing I'd like to mention is every vehicle that we sell at MS Classic Cars includes a brand new binder with all the information that we've got. I take all that information, I put it into plastic sleeves so the new owner can sit down, read all of it, don't have to worry about getting a box full of stuff and sorting through it. I've kind of done all that work for you. We are the only classic car dealership in the country who services every vehicle we sell. We document that work with an invoice. So this particular car has gone through our vigorous service process. I have 4 full-time mechanics. We have driven this car over 300 miles, dialing it in so the new owner can get it and enjoy it. We invested a total of $21,578.16 doing everything that we did. Really, really impressive. To talk about a few other things here before I get into the actual presentation. I have contacted Porsche, being a member of the Porsche Club of America. I wanted to get a COA on this vehicle, which is their Certificate of Authenticity. The program that they're now offering is called the Porsche Production Specification. They refer to it now as PPS. I did order that. I have not yet received it. So once I receive it, I will be posting it within our photo gallery. That actually is basically the information from the manufacturer that states what it was born as, etc., etc. This particular vehicle here, I did a vehicle VIN decode off of a pretty well-known website, and it clearly shows here that this car was born in '87, Porsche 911 Carrera 2-door coupe, 4-speed turbo. So all of that is actually in here. I also am a Car Fax dealer, and I pulled a Car Fax report on this car. Again, it shows the history. The story is this car was first reported to Car Fax in 1991 with 24,170 miles. I'm assuming that this was probably a dealer car, or it was part of a collection. It was probably on an MSO for maybe 3 or 4 years. The gentleman that I actually bought the car from, he actually purchased it in 2001, as the title that we have indicates. He lived in Florida at the time. The car had 52,242 miles when he bought it. He obviously enjoyed the car, drove it for quite some time. It even shows here that in 2008, it had 84,000 miles. Currently, the car has 84,485 miles. So you can clearly see the history of the vehicle. He essentially is the second owner of the vehicle. So it is a 2-owner car. The Car Fax report documents that this car was never involved in any accidents and never had any damage. The car was originally white from the manufacturer. It had black interior, so this car had great history. I also, which we pictured in the photo gallery, inside this envelope here, I have some photos of what the car looked like before the restoration. There's 4 or 5 photos in here that the new owner will get. Make sure you check out those photos as well. So this gentleman, I guess you could say, was maybe bored and wanted to get into doing some light racing. He made the decision that he wanted to take this car that he enjoyed for all those years, and he wanted to get it set up so he could actually race the car. So he contacted a custom shop by the name of Motor Werks Racing. They are really experts in the Porsche field. If you visit their website, you will clearly see some of the most magnificent builds out there. They do a great job with cars from start to finish. They got a really good reputation. So he hooked up with them. We have all of the receipts that document the work that he had done there. Receipts are worth their weight in gold because they clearly show what was done to a vehicle, and that starts right here. That work started in 2012, and from all the way to the end, it ended in sometime late 2015. I have totaled up all the invoices with Motor Werks Racing, and I've added up here $77,858.25. So if you take that number and the number that we invested in MS Classic Cars, you're talking about almost $100,000 went into this build. And again, he only drove it about 100 miles. We've put about 300 miles on it. So only about 400 miles have been accumulated on this car since it was finished. Pretty spectacular, and what a great opportunity. So when the vehicle went to them, what they decided to do is, first they wanted to, obviously make the exterior of the vehicle much nicer than what it was before they got into the mechanical aspects of it. So they sanded the body down to bare metal, from what I've gathered. They actually pulled all the glass out of the car. They actually added a RSR Iroc style front grille, front bumper, rear bumper, and rear spoiler, which really added a lot of character to this car. I think you will agree once you see all the photos and you see this video and so forth. This car is extremely sexy. After all of that was done, everything fit really well. They did a great job with everything. A little bit of fabrication modification went into it. Then they ended up painting the car. Rather than painting it the original white, which was a slightly different shade of white than what this color is, they wanted to give it a little bit more pop, if you will. So they painted it more of a bright white. This is a beautiful color. They did not paint the door jambs. The door jambs are very, very small, and they kind of feathered it in, so it's really not that noticeable unless you get up really, really close. They also left the front compartment original regarding the paint, and at that time they also left the trunk compartment, which is the engine compartment rather, also done in that original paint as well. So they put all brand new glass back into the vehicle. It's all tinted. It's absolutely flawless. It's in beautiful condition. They left a lot of this black trim, which would have been around the mirrors, the lower moldings and so forth, the door handles, which gave it that character. And then of course they put on the Fuchs style wheels. They're not original wheels. Those are reproduction wheels, but they're staggered. They look really, really nice. Now that we're touching base on the exterior, I'll tell you what we did at MS Classic Cars. We actually added new headlights. Those are inline headlights. They're actually black. They're LED. I thought that would really change the front look of the car, which it did. They're quite an expensive headlight, but I think they're worth their weight in gold. And we also added brand new tires to the car. Even though the car had low mileage and it had never actually made it to the racetrack, we went ahead and put brand new tires on it because those other tires were already 6 years old. On that note, before I forget to mention, what had happened was when the car was finished being done, unfortunately, the gentleman who had owned the car had gotten injured. I think his son had told me that he had fallen off a ladder or something had happened at his house and he hurt his back and his hip. And unfortunately, he was never able to enjoy the car after they finished it. So the miles that was actually put on the car was by his son, just taking it around the neighborhood and warming it up. He kind of wanted to hold on to the car for a little while to see if his dad was going to recover. He never really did and was never able to really drive the car. So that's kind of the story of why the car went up for sale. And of course, I jumped on it immediately. So to get back into the exterior presentation, I definitely would say this is a show quality paint job. It is near flawless. I mean, it might have a couple tiny little chips here or there, but nothing worth mentioning. It's a beautiful paint job. The car is extremely nice. Everything on the exterior I would describe as like new condition. Definitely something that anybody would be proud of. Getting into the interior. As I mentioned earlier, this car originally had black interior. Some of this interior is still original. I'm referring to the headliner, which is in beautiful condition. The sunroof works great. The sun visors here are still really strong and super nice. The rear view mirror is perfect. The dash is actually perfect. All of the gauges are perfect. The steering wheel's original. It's beautiful. The shifter's original and beautiful. The little console down here. The one thing that they did to the original door panels is they actually took them down and refinished them. They recolored them. They came out really nice. I wouldn't say the door panels are perfect, but I would say they're super nice. They replaced all the carpet in here and so forth during the restoration. They added a really nice sound system. They got rid of some of the features, like they kept the power windows, but because they replaced the original seats with these beautiful Recaro seats, these are probably the most comfortable Recaro seats I've ever sat in. I'm a little bit of a bigger guy and I still have plenty of room in this car. You can see the amount of headroom I have. There's a lot of space in this car. They got these really nice harnesses in here as well that they added. They added a Halguard fire extinguisher on the floor, which you'll see in the pictures, which was really cool. They added this roll cage back here. This was a really, really nice roll cage that has been welded in. It was not bolted, it was welded. But again, they removed some of the features like the remote mirror mechanism, the original heated seats. Obviously, they got rid of that. They took out the heating system, although the blower works. Again, a lot of this kind of stuff, even the rear seat pads, it was done with weight in mind, like these front bumpers and rear bumpers and so forth. A lot of it weighs less than the original factory equipment did. So they kind of were designing and building the car around the fact that they wanted it to be a little bit more lightweight for the track and so forth. So I would tell you, again, at MS Classic Cars, we ran this car through our service department. We didn't have to do a lot of work to this interior. We did a little bit of things here and there, which you'll see in the invoice. Everything is in great working order. We actually added aluminum trim, which I thought was the perfect complement to what they had already done at Motor Werks Racing. We had added turbo aluminum door sills. We added the aluminum door handles. We added the aluminum pedals, and we also did the handle on the e-brake as well. So just enough to give the car a little bit of character, but not go too overboard. Getting into the front, I guess you would refer to it as the trunk compartment of the vehicle. That was pretty much left original. Obviously, they got rid of the spare tire. Number one, it wasn't matching. Number two, they wanted to reduce the weight. They left all of that original. The VIN number is still in place there. We took pictures of that. The carpeting has been replaced. What we did is we actually kind of repainted that area that is normally painted black. We just kind of refreshened that a little bit so it would look nicer. If somebody ever wanted to peel back that carpet at a car show or something like that, they'd be proud to present what was under there. But a lot of that is original. There is a Bosch battery, and it also has a battery cutoff knob on there. So when the car is being stored or being shown at a car show and you want to open the doors or whatever the case might be, not have to worry about somebody stealing the car or whatever the case might be, you can actually turn the power off. Talking about the engine compartment, as I mentioned earlier, this is where I really find that Porsches lag as far as the attention to detail. When we got the car, the engine itself was nice, but once again, when they restored this car, they didn't necessarily restore the car to be a high-end show car. It was a car that they wanted to take on the track. So they did a really nice job with obviously the glass and the wheels and the paint job, cleaning up a lot of the interior. But I thought the engine compartment, again, just lacked a little bit of that show quality appearance. And because the car, again, was set up to track, we thought that the motor had to be dialed in a little bit from a idling standpoint. So MS Classic Cars wanted to add a idle control valve system that would allow it to run better, especially when the car was starting and it was cold. And by the time we started thinking about the engine compartment, because it had original paint and so forth, before you know it, the motor was taken out of the car. We completely took the motor out. We took everything kind of apart, not internally, I'm talking about externally, and we started to cosmetically improve it. We did a bunch of modifications to the vehicle, the turbo. We pretty much went through everything. We took photos of that. That's pictured within our photo gallery. This is the original motor this car was born as. It's a 3.3 flat 6 super engine. Again, it's had some custom work to it regarding some cams, obviously the turbo system. They did an awesome job with the exhaust system in this car. I think these receipts in here will document that like $4,000 or $5,000 was spent just on the exhaust system. They did a really, really nice job with all that. We just went in and kind of improved it. We painted the entire engine compartment, same color as the exterior. We cleaned a lot of that up, cleaned the engine up. We put everything back in, and again, we really dialed it in. We drove it over 300 miles. One thing I want to mention too before I forget, there are two other videos of this car. One of it is at a dyno location. We took it to a place locally here in Seekonk, Massachusetts, Dyno Tech Tuning. The owner, Brian, was kind enough to allow us to get in there with short notice. We actually did that today. I actually did it before we did this video. So that's a really cool video demonstration. Rather than talking about what a car could have for horsepower, we actually wanted to show everybody what it has for horsepower. And one of my mechanics, who's actually my service manager, foreman, he did a really nice job explaining the whole entire deal. So make sure you watch that video. Next week, early next week, we're doing a driving video at Ocean Drive in Newport, Rhode Island, so you want to make sure you watch that as well. So we have 3 videos for this car. Make sure you check them all out. Getting back to the actual car, when the car was under the restoration process, they got rid of the 4-speed transmission that came in this car. They replaced it with the desirable G50 5-speed transmission, which they sourced out of an 89 911 turbo. So the car's got a killer transmission. It's got kind of a racing style clutch. The clutch is super easy to operate, so I can't say enough about that. Getting into the undercarriage. Once again, just like the engine compartment, they didn't go insane with the attention to detail as far as the belly of the car or the attention to detail with the suspension and all that kind of stuff. So while we had it at the service department, we pulled off the wheels and tires, we pretty much disassembled all the suspension, we disassembled all the brakes, we painted all the parts, we made everything look really nice. And again, they did a really good job with the brake kit. This has got a obviously a custom four-wheel disc brake system with 12-inch rotors. It's got the Porsche style red calipers, they're Brembo. They pulled those off of different makes and models, which we put in our descriptions. It does have the original Bilstein green shocks in the front, but they did a really good job with a coilover conversion in the rear. That makes a huge difference with the car's handling, especially when you got a car with high horsepower like this car does. These cars are very light, and when you put a lot of horsepower behind them, they're extremely fun to drive. I can't say enough about how awesome this car runs and how super it is to drive. Something, again, that I'm really proud of, and I'm sure the new owner is going to be proud of and have an absolute blast with. So again, hopefully I've covered everything with this car. I'm sure there's a few things that I forgot. So again, please visit msclassiccars.com for a full description, tons of photos. Please, if you have not already, sign up for our VIP email blast. We have thousands of people that get notifications when we list new vehicles for sale. We give them updates on what's happening within the organization. Please also follow us on social media. We do everything from Facebook to Instagram. We do Twitter. We even started TikTok. Obviously, we appreciate if you subscribe on YouTube for us. MS Classic Cars is a small company, but we're doing big things. So I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle. Oh, one thing I want to mention before I do that, I do have the original owner's manual here. It's got this nice manual. It also has the manual for the sound system in this car. It's a Pioneer stereo. It's got custom speakers. We got this little technical specifications booklet that comes with it as well. We even have this original key tag as well. So I want to make sure before I forgot that all of this is included. There are some other things that are included too, like a little trickle charger. We've got the fuel injection system that we have. We got the software for that. That's also included as well. So just make sure that you check all that out on our website. So I'm going to go ahead and start it. Let you listen how beautiful it runs. This car is absolutely amazing. Starts right up. Sounds spectacular. Rock and roll, baby.